A man went to a Buddhist monastery for a silent retreat. After he finished, he felt better, calmer, stronger, but something was missing. The teacher said he could talk to one of the monks before he left. The man thought for a while, then asked, "How do you find peace?" The monk said, "I say yes. To everything that happens, I say yes." When the man returned home, he was enlightened. This one is actually real. The man is Kamal Ravikant. In an interview, he shares his interpretation of the monk's advice. Most of our pain, most of our suffering comes from resistance to what is. Life is. And when we resist what life is, we suffer. When you can say yes to life, surrender to life and say, "Okay, what should I be now?" That's where power comes from. When the weather is bad, when your crush won't answer, when the obstacle won't budge, don't say no. Don't dig in your heels and push and shove until your veins pop out in frustration. Say yes. Accept. Breathe. Life is flowing. Always. It's us trying to swim upstream. Let the current carry you instead. A senior monk and a junior monk were traveling together. At one point, they came to a river with a strong current. As the monks were preparing to cross the river, they saw a very young and beautiful woman also attempting to cross. The young woman asked if they could help her cross to the other side. The two monks glanced at one another because they had taken vows not to touch a woman. Then, without a word, the older monk picked up the woman, carried her across the river, placed her gently on the other side, and carried on his journey. The younger monk couldn't believe what had just happened. After rejoining his companion, he was speechless, and an hour passed without a word between them. 2 more hours passed, then 3. Finally, the younger monk could not contain himself any longer and blurted out, "As monks, we are not permitted a woman. How could you then carry that woman on your shoulders?" The older monk looked at him and replied, "Brother, I set her down on the other side of the river. Why are you still carrying her?" Resisting to what life is trying to tell you is exhausting, but resisting to what life has already told you is guaranteed to be in vain. What's done is done. If you feel guilty, it was a mistake you can fix. If you feel ashamed, it was a mistake you shouldn't repeat. But regret, that's just dragging a past event into the present. It's a toxic attempt to twist reality, and it always backfires. 2 men visit a Zen master. The first man says, "I'm thinking of moving to this town. What's it like?" The Zen master asks, "What was your old town like?" The first man responds, "It was dreadful. Everyone was hateful. I hated it." The Zen master says, "This town is very much the same. I don't think you should move here." The first man leaves and the second man comes in. The second man says, "I'm thinking of moving to this town. What's it like?" The Zen master asks, "What was your old town like?" The second man responds, "It was wonderful. Everyone was friendly and I was happy. Just interested in a change now." The Zen master says, "This town is very much the same. I think you will like it here. What we seek is what we find. The reasons why you do what you do matter as much, if not more, as what you end up doing, because they shape how you seek. So, ultimately, they'll also determine what you find." A Zen master was given a beautifully crafted crystal cup. It was a gift from a former student. He was very grateful. Every day, he enjoyed drinking out of his glass. He would show it to visitors and tell them about the kindness of his student. But every morning, he held the cup in his hand for a few seconds and reminded himself, "This glass is already broken." One day, a clumsy visitor toppled the glass on its shelf. The cup fell down. When it hit the floor, it was smashed into thousands of tiny pieces. The other visitors gasped in shock, but the Zen master remained calm. looking at the mess in front of his feet. He said, "Ah, yes, let's begin." He picked up a broom and started sweeping. I found the idea for this in The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. About a year ago, I wrote that half of happiness is being okay with what you don't get. Now, I think I know what the other half is: being okay with losing what you have. The man who remembers to be grateful for his possessions is ahead of most, but the man who knows they won't last is ahead of him still. Be the second,